Hi everyone, this is Gian, and today I have a topic of meatless human. I A couple of weeks ago I asked a question on Facebook, what topics should I make videos on? Now someone specifically just posted the word meatlessness. I am assuming that they were asking, is there a meatless human? Is it possible for humans to be meatless? And being vegan. So can we stop eating meat? And the question is yes, we can stop eating meat. We can also stop eating vegetables. We can also stop eating anything. In fact, if we lived in heaven on earth, we will most probably not need to eat anything except breathe. Now, I don't have any scientific backing of this, but this is something that I believe our bodies will require in the future. It's only breathing. And not that we will require, for example, meat or food, because if you look at anything that we eat, it is killing. If you eat a vegetable, a fruit, if you eat a plant-based meal, you are murdering and killing living beings. In fact, for you to get any nutrition out of anything, you have to eat something that's alive. Now, the arguments going around the world is that we can kill beings that has consciousness. And the belief that vegetables do not have consciousness just shows you how unintelligent human beings are. Vegetables experience pain. Vegetables experience themselves the same way as we do, the same way as animals. The only difference is an animal, as an animated soul, is showing us its expressions through its face, through its behavior. Where a vegetable just takes it. They can't say anything, they can't express anything, so murdering them seems cooler. And growing them in concentration camps seem cooler than animals, but it's the same stuff. All right? So abuse is happening everywhere all the time. It doesn't matter what your argument is, life is alive. Nothing can be dead. Dead stuff cannot support living stuff. Basic, simple common sense. So you need to take life to have life. Now, if we go any arguments of meat isn't healthy for people or meat isn't good for people and therefore we should rather eat vegetables, besides the argument of, which one is murdering and killing and which one isn't, then we are looking again at, for example, meat is a compacted form of vegetation. And vegetation is more the loose source of vegetation. So when you eat a cow, you're eating a ton of grass. When you're eating any other animal, living being, you're eating a ton of vegetables through them. Yes, they lose certain qualities and certain qualities get lost. Then when you eat vegetables, but you're still eating vegetables all around because life consumes life to create life. So everything is life. Everything is one and the same thing. So we cannot keep it more simple than that. If we eat a cow or beef or pork or whatever it is, we are eating what they ate. If something eats us, like the worms, they're eating what we ate. They're getting back. The earth always takes back what is the earth's, which is life, here, the dust. Doesn't matter in what shape, form, size it goes, it always returns to the earth. Now, the abuse that's taking place in the agricultural industry needs to end. That's the point we need to focus on. For example, if we want to go and look at eating meat and if it is valid, opposed to eating vegetables, they're both the same thing. Both is killing and murdering, period. All right, vegetables are alive. They're growing. When you pluck them and when you put them in your fridge, they're still alive. That's the only reason you can eat them and get what they're giving you is because they're alive, not because they're dead. And they are alive, therefore they are moving, living beings. They're atoms, they're molecules, everything inside of them is alive. They experience stuff. They have consciousness beyond what we can measure. All right? We humans are not that intelligent as we think we are. So we need to stop thinking we know things. So let's get to the point. To be meatless, I say, is possible. But we need to redesign ourselves as human beings, our organic designs, which should be possible where we can redesign ourselves only to live off the air. But the air itself is polluted. So what needs to be in the air to become healthy air, breathable air that supports life? That's what we need to look at. How can we create a planet that supports life, where breath itself becomes the food, healthy breath, healthy air. And if everyone has healthy air and healthy breath, then everyone can have that. Now, I'm not going to go into specifics why saving breath, but that is what I see is possible. And there is some people in this world that is testing that out and pushing the point of being breatharians or something like that. Now let's go to the next point. Our bodies is constantly consuming itself. That's why you age and die. So if you're a vegetarian, you're still eating meat. Your body is eating itself. It's how it generates energy. It's where you use your energy, such as your thoughts, your feelings and emotions. Every time you have an emotion, your body is eating itself, eating the meat that it has. You'll see stressed out people will eat a lot because they need to keep gaining the meat on their own body. Or they will lose a lot of weight because they're so stressed because the body is eating itself. So you're always a cannibalist. You are cannibalizing yourself because your thoughts, feelings, and emotions require energy, and therefore the food that you ate that became your meat or your fat is now being consumed, and therefore you are eating yourself. So we're always meat eaters, regardless of what we're doing currently. Now, the point that we have to focus on is ending the abuse in the agricultural industry in both areas, animals and plants. All right? If you look at a dying animal, this is now in a perfect world, in an equal money system. If you look at a perfect world where there's lots of animals walking free, if one of them gets old and too weak to walk, why can we not eat that animal? I would like the same for myself. If I'm getting too old and too weak, rather make me dog food. Feed my body to something. Make it support life. So it's not about judging meat as good or bad. It's about how we are doing it. That's what needs to change. And how much we consume. That's what needs to change. And we have to also respect that everything is alive. We cannot have a clean consciousness believing that one thing experiences something another doesn't. Like the belief going on that fish doesn't experience pain. Let me tell you something. Everything experiences everything they're going through. It's just a way of life. All right? So we can't justify that we want to stop the meat industry because the animals are conscious animals or beings. Just because you can see it. What limited perception is that? And what limited judgment is that? To say that, oh look, the animal looks sad, therefore we shouldn't kill it. Yet the vegetable doesn't show any emotion, so we can eat it as much as we want. I mean, come on. Now when we look at the health factor, nothing is healthy in this world. The very air we breathe is unhealthy. All right, the very soil we walk on and plant in is unhealthy. The people working with your vegetables has an unhealthy resonant effect on the food because they're under slavery, they're under labor forces, they're forced to work for money, they're forced to earn money, they're forced to live for money. So they're not working with your food for a passion, they're not giving that resonance off, they're working for money, therefore they're probably giving fear off, emotions and feelings and resonant things that you will eat. It's not that healthy. Then, never mind the food and stuff, the thoughts that we have, the feelings that we have, the emotions that we have that consume our own bodies is the most unhealthy thing we can do. So it's best that we start stopping our thoughts, feelings, and emotions first and foremost, and therefore have an internal change and therefore have an external change. So we need to focus on what are we doing to ourselves first, because we're cannibalists. We consume our own bodies. All right, we're all meat eaters because of that. So now we have to look at, can we be meatless? Yes, and also we have to consider that through generational programming of the physical bodies, you have a lot of different physical bodies in this world. You cannot just go, everyone must go meatless. You can go, yes, we must change how we eat meat, how much meat we have, when we take meat from nature or from animals, and therefore change that point, and still some need meat because they've been programmed and designed through DNA and genetics to require meat. It's not even a protein thing. It can literally be on a resonant level a survival thing that's been imprinted into a being since childhood. So the body doesn't necessarily need meat, but the being itself requires meat. These are dimensions people do not consider because we only think about our rights and wrongs, our moralities. And we have to move beyond that and look what is best for all. And then only can we see practically how to change things. So I would say first things first, we need to focus on changing ourselves so we can stop cannibalizing ourselves, stop eating our bodies within the thoughts, feelings, and emotions that we participate in. And then we will also change how we eat. Because if we participate in a lot of stress or fear or anxiety or the thoughts that we have a lot, that will determine how much food we want to eat, what food we want to eat, because we are so much controlled by what goes on inside of ourselves that that controls what we eat, how we eat. And so the first change needs to happen internally. And that's what I would focus on before focusing on just going meatless, going vegan. And first consider that all life is alive. All right, don't tell me vegetables don't experience pain. I mean, they rot and die just like us. They have a lifespan just like us. They start as a baby and grow just like us. Everything is just like us. So we can't use those excuses anymore. So that is my perspective on meatless humans and where we currently have to focus on and what to focus on. We need an economic change, an equal money system, heaven on earth, so we can actually start considering life. You cannot vote for the good in this world when the system that's running this world is based on self-interest and profits. We need to change the system to have an actual effect in the long run to change this world. Because look, if you in the meat industry or any industry, how many jobs, how many things are we taking away that people rely on within this shit system? All right, consider other people's lives too. Don't just go on your morality and your judgments because you're willing to stop the harm of one but harm others. So you have to consider everyone. You have to consider an approach that is inclusive and holistic for every single being that's involved. So this first starts with education of self, how we cannibalize our own bodies because of the thoughts, feelings, and emotions we participate in on a daily basis. The reason for aging, the reason for getting freckles and skin deteriorating and teeth falling out and eyes going blind and hips hurting and all these things that happen to us like heart attacks, liver and kidney failures, whatever we have. That's us cannibalizing ourselves, killing ourselves through the very thoughts and things we have besides the food that we take in that's been genetically modified or poisoned, sprayed on it, and not organically grown. So we need to go within and so without. And that's where I would start. Thank you very much. This is Gyan. And please rewatch this video, hear what I'm saying, leave a comment, leave a perspective, and let's discuss. If you have anything to say, I am here sharing with you my destiny perspectives that I've developed over many years of investigating these points for myself. Thank you very much. Take care. See you later.